Howdy, I'm Garrison Watts, a full-time Dungeon Master and author of the product tied to this video. In this short explanation, I'm going to talk about my product a bit, its motivations, and all that you can expect from the contents. I've learned a lot as a Dungeon Master. One of those things I've learned is that you're in charge of rewarding players for all their efforts. One of the most common ways we as Dungeon Masters understand rewards is to hand out magic items. Complete a mini-dungeon, here's a +1 sword. Slay a powerful foe, loot their magical armor. Magic items are a key part of every D&D game, which is nothing new. I'm not telling you anything renowned. But I've noticed a downward trend in how magic items are treated, especially in some later books. The intent of this book is to change the way we consider magic items. Too many of the items I see from campaign settings are nothing more than a saving throw, a damage bonus, and a language. While at first, all of these things seemed exciting, they've come to bore me. Magic items aren't exciting when all they do is boost a couple stats. Sure, this artifact gives me the ability to speak a language, but so does a first level spell and comprehend languages. Now, of course, there is a time and place for the average +1 sword or staff with a saving throw, but I rarely see a magic item now that wows me. The items in this book avoid just being a damage bonus or skill upgrade. We want them to reflect their incredible power by having their properties be as strong as the gods they manifest from. Yes, the artifacts in this book are tied to gods. I started noticing this trend when one of my players, Alex, built their character around feats and multiclassing. I gave them a pretty powerful crossbow from a campaign setting before the finale of their adventure, and they chose to use their non-magical bow instead because while it forced a saving throw to banish fiends, it didn't deal half as much damage or deal 2 attacks a turn. Several of my players tried to build strong characters that are reliable regardless of their situation or number of magic items, and I think this is in part a product of how lame some magic items have really become. Players don't factor potential magic items into their character, and to some extent they shouldn't, because they're not the ones who choose what items are handed out. However, if I take away an item from a character, I want them to feel it. I want them to lose something, because that's the drama of the game. You know, there's this really good story where a ring is lost and the entire world is going to go to war for it. I want to create magic items that my players will go to war for. Steven, another one of my players, approached me about building his character around a powerful shield. We brainstormed and came up with something that would fit. He's kind of been my test demo on this. We created the Aegis of Daybreak, an artifact of the sun god. And we came up with a method of finding pieces that fit into the shield and having it manifest more aspects of their deity. Of course, he initially sent me a few ideas about what he wanted the item to do, and when I saw them, I thought they were disappointing. They were mundane. Armor class bonus, the ability to cast a spell, some extra healing. I thought these were something a different item could do just as easily. I want items to do unique things, especially when they manifest from a deity. I took his considerations and made them a lot more powerful. He is using a shield. And the fantasy of your character wielding a shield is that it protects people. The first ability he got from the shield is called Resilience of Day, which allows him to raise up the shield on any dexterity saving throw, such as lightning bolt or fireball, and if he succeeds, he takes no damage. And the creatures that he blocks from the source are immune to the effects too. He doesn't know it yet, but as he finds more pieces to upgrade his shield, he'll get stronger effects. The shield will upgrade. He'll gain fire resistance and even the ability to deflect spells back at the caster. An incredibly strong ability for his character to have at 3rd level. But his paladin wants to protect people. It's thematically fitting for his character and the deity. And it's fun. He loves to rub it in my face during the game that I gave him an item that keeps me from damaging him and his allies. When we play, the other players are constantly joking that he can't live without it. One item, and my entire group of players have something fun to play with. The other 5 players don't even use the shield, but they still have fun with it. Going back, by the way, when I said I gave him this artifact at 3rd level, many people would disagree handing a super powerful magic item out at low levels, but I disagree with them. I don't like how magic items are treated in the meta. When I see people say you shouldn't give out a +1 sword until level 5, I disagree. It doesn't make sense to me because in my experience, games begin wrapping up around 7th to 8th level. So 5th level is usually over midway through the campaign. I'd rather players look back on some of the magic items they were handed and wish for things as strong or unique as that again, not just in D&D, by the way, in games in general. I have a gripe when it comes to powerful artifacts in games. They don't feel unique. I want some items that stand out compared to the common. If my artifacts are going to upgrade, I want my players to work for it. I want them to have a goal set out, and I want it to be explicitly told, do A, gain B. Here's a question. Why do some of the legendary magic items from the core rulebooks have random attributes that you roll? Aren't those items legendary? Shouldn't they feel intentional? The artifacts in this book don't leave things up to chance because this isn't a roguelike. This isn't a looter shooter. This is Dungeons and Dragons, where we as game masters have total control over every aspect. I want my items to be intentional, so this means I choose thematic properties over balance. Balance, by the way, is one of those trigger words we like to throw around in games. Like when we say something is broken when it's really just good. One of the items in this book is called Tyranny's Weight. It's a mace that is the manifestation of the god of tyrants. One of the more powerful properties it has is called Take Them Instead, which allows you to use your reaction whenever you take damage to throw somebody in front of you, and they take the damage instead. It's powerful, it's fun, and it's hilarious. It's also evil. It's exactly what an evil tyrant would do. Eventually, that tyrant is going to run out of bodies to throw in front of them, which is usually how tyrants die. The book is about the artifacts of the divine, a group of magic items that are manifestations of the deities in Amendium, the world in which I run games. The abilities of the item reflect the deity they originate from. Good deities bless people with something that heals or protects the wielder and those around them, while evil deities inflict pain and benefit from villainous actions. That mace I just mentioned, it curses you, by the way. When you're attuned to it, you cannot take any oaths or vows, because the god of tyranny does not believe in equals. There's only one ruler. If you take an oath or a vow, by the way, such as a paladin oath or a matrimonial vow, the artifact immediately unattunes from you and refuses to ever bless you with its benefits again. It might even say, "I will not allow such a worm to wield me." These items are powerful because they are manifestations of deities. Balance is often chosen in favor of player reward and satisfaction, but these items don't take that approach. Steven, the player I mentioned, and I brainstormed all of these items together, and we set out by trying to avoid some of the common tropes we really don't like when it comes to artifacts. There is no language benefit to any of these weapons. There is no randomizer to get positive or negative properties. There are no items that are just a list of new spells. Some of these artifacts may look unbalanced to give to your players, but imagine for a second being the player to find that artifact. It would feel so rewarding at the end of a long, arduous journey or a very deep dungeon to find an artifact as powerful as the origin implies. And now that they own the item, adventures can extend from that. And that's just icing on top. These artifacts will change the way characters think about magic items because these items are unique to the game. Characters with these items will play differently, meaning evil artifacts steer people to commit crimes, while good ones help the world. Some artifacts are specific to classes and races, boosting their abilities to feel stronger than the average wizard or fighter. This doesn't exclude people outside those classes, as only a couple of these artifacts require you to be a certain class, and none of these items are restricted to a single class. But we want artifacts to boost people's power. The artifact of the God of Fighters is to be for a fighter, and it will make them feel like a super soldier. Well, that's just the motivation behind my product. Each page is dedicated to one or more artifacts that you can use in game. There are over 30 in the booklet, which is more than enough for any single campaign. Each artifact comes with a description, artwork, and potential location that can inspire game masters to place them in their world. The deities tied to the item are intentionally left vague, except in certain cases, because I want you to be able to use these in your own campaign setting, not just mine. Every item is drawn by my friend and artist Elora Sperber, who you can find on Twitter and Instagram by the same name. She really helped me bring these items to life through her attention to detail and incredible line work. I seriously cannot thank her enough, so I'll advertise her here. Please go check her out. She's incredible, and right now she's taking commissions for D&D related art. So if you like what you see in the book, contact her. Get her to do something for you in your campaign. Also, I have to give a shout out to a video by MCDM where James Introcaso talked about game design and getting into it. That video really helped me with figuring out where to start, and I referenced it constantly in the making of this booklet. Links for both of them are below. I hope you give my product a try, and if you have any feedback, I'm always open to it. Thank you.